She was convinced that David had thrown away her photo to claim the house for himself. Determined not to give in, she grabbed the phone and prepared to call the police. But the next moment, her hand passed straight through the phone.
What'd you do to my phone? Where can I? Stay right there. I'm gonna use the one in the kitchen.
This sight left David completely stunned. He began to wonder if he was still dreaming, but everything around him felt so real. The next morning, David immediately contacted the real estate agent to ask about the previous tenant of the house. The agent refused to disclose any information, only mentioning that the previous tenant was a girl. The vague answer confirmed everything that had happened the night before. To figure out the supernatural events he was experiencing, David went to a bookstore that specialized in paranormal books. He picked up a book about ghosts, and the bookstore owner approached him.
Can I help you with anything?
No. I mean, believe in this stuff?
Well, you don't. Until you do. That's a little dated. I recommend the Rosemary Preston. It's totally similar.
That night, David sat down at the table, fully focused, and tried to summon the woman's spirit, following the instructions from the book. But no matter what gestures he made, there was still no response. Suddenly, David remembered that the woman had always been very attached to her table, so he grabbed a cup and placed it on the table. The next moment,
Don't you dare!
We need to talk.
About what?
he wanted to ask the woman about her past, but the woman seemed to have lost her memory. She had forgotten recent events, but casually mentioned her name. David wanted to remind Lisa that she didn't belong to this world, but Lisa didn't believe such a lie. However, in the heat of their argument, she unknowingly stepped into the middle of the table. At that moment, Lisa also sensed something was wrong.
What's happening to me?
You're dead!
Stop saying that!
In a fit of anger, she tried to show David who was in charge, but to her shock, her hand passed through his body. In a burst of anger, she tried to push David away, only to find that she passed right through the window. But the next moment, she reappeared in the room. Although Lisa accepted the fact that she had become a spirit, she wasn't about to give up. Determined to drive David out of her house, Lisa launched an unrelenting mental assault. David even began showering with his pants on. Although David had gotten used to Lisa's presence, he was still startled every time he saw her.
Another one, mine.
After days of torment, David could no longer live in peace. Even watching TV was a challenge. David was suffering from Lisa's constant harassment, so he could no longer tolerate it.
You know what? That's it. I've had it with you. I'm trying to be nice, but now you're out of here!
If he wanted to rid himself of Lisa for good, he would have to bring in a priest. But this old trick didn't intimidate Lisa at all. Since Western methods didn't work, he turned to Eastern ones. He even called in a scientific team, who used high-tech scanners to trap the spirit in a pyramid-shaped box. Everything seemed to be going smoothly, but nothing worked. Lisa's spirit still followed him everywhere. After several failed attempts, David decided to bring in the bookstore owner. However, the moment he arrived, he could already feel Lisa's presence.